dive right into it. So for everyone on the call, what we're talking about today on Toolbox Tuesdays is our advanced RMA case management extension for Business Central. What we're going to be talking about and some of the key features of this one are we're going to be going through the setup. We are going to be talking about how to generate RMAs from posted sales invoices and shipments or vendor invoices and shipments. We're going to track the status of an RMA all the way through the cycle of issuance to customer to crediting the customer, and then going on the vendor side and getting a credit from the vendor. And then we're going to finish it off with creating the sales return order and purchase return order from the RMA. So we like to work hard, play hard, like we said before. We're going to dive right into it. Ben, back to you.
Awesome. I'm going to take my half of my costume off because I can't see my computer screen, and then we'll jump right into the live demo here. So like Grant said, we're going to jump right into our RMA setup. So like always, come up to the search here, type in RMA, and then there should be a few things. We'll get into the case list here in a second, as well as the dashboard a little bit later. But we're just going to start with this advanced RMA setup and show kind of how straightforward and easy it is to get up and get running on our tool, and then also jump into a demo so that we can see some of the use cases and really the power behind using a tool like this. So just as kind of an overarching theme that we go through here, the whole goal and purpose of the advanced RMA is to process both support cases, returns from customers, returns to your vendors, or a combination of the three. Make that very easy, and then also give greater visibility into linking all of those documents, right? So as we create this case, you'll see how the initial support case is brought in, how that customer return or just that support is answered, and then if you do need to send that all the way back to your vendor, how that will work as well. So let's jump right into the setup with the RMA case management number series. So here you just need to assign a number series that's going to be RMA, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be a return GL account. So let's say you have a restocking fee. We can define what that restocking fee is on a case-by-case basis. So in this case, 43000 is just going to be the revenue account that those restocking fees go to. And then you can have it auto generate a return fee description on that line. So let's say you have a $1,000 order, maybe there's a $50 restocking fee. It's going to put that as a second line and generate everything that's necessary there. This next thing is this test email address. So like some of our other tools, as you're going through testing, this will override every email in the system so that everything's going to come to me today. That way you don't have to update all of your configurations. You can just put Ben at ERP Connect, and I'm going to get all the emails for today's session, just a safeguard there. And then this next piece is this default location option. So this is going to be probably the most important setup that we've seen so far. When returns are processed from your customers, where are those items going to go? So location from source doc. If the sales order said it was in Dallas, it's just going to return it back to Dallas, right? If it was in Tampa, it was going to return it back to Tampa. Location card return location. On the actual location card itself, we can have a sublocation defined. So let's say it's in Dallas and we're returning it to Dallas. We can have a Dallas returns as the return location on that location card. And then everything that's returned from sales orders in Dallas will go to our Dallas returns. We process it there and then maybe put it back into our normal warehouse. And then this default location, if I've got this turned on, which I do today, that's going to require that we fill out this field for the default location. And now everything's going to go to this returns warehouse. So I don't care, where it's coming from or where it's going. It is going to go to that returns default location, no matter where it was shipped out of originally. So definitely take a look at that. Again, depending on your business requirements and use case, define which option you want to use there. We're going to have everything go to the returns location today. This auto release replacement SO. So there's really three different scenarios that we have here, right? The first scenario is creating the replacement as soon as that request comes in. I would say that's probably the least popular of the three, but you can do it. And then this is just saying, do you want to automatically release that when that replacement order is created? Typically, the answer would be no in that first scenario. The second scenario is we wait until the customer returns their items until we create that replacement order, in which case you could auto release the replacement sales order automatically. We've gotten their items and we automatically want to have our warehouse process that next order going forward. Or if you have that, again, turned off, it would just wait until you process the release, and then the warehouse would get it so that you can process it out. So just, again, depending on when you create that replacement order, do you want to auto release that to the warehouse or not? So a few different use cases there, depending on your business requirements, pick what is necessary and go from there. And you can see more in the demo today how we do things to get a better idea. These next two are date formulas. So when we create a support case or an RMA off the bat, we want to have it generate kind of an auto close date and an auto or estimated close date and an auto close date. So by estimate, we're going to have 30 days by default be our estimated close date for everything. And then 14 days after that, so 44 days, it will auto close. It's just kind of to keep that cadence through the RMAs and the cases in order to first project out how long a typical case takes. And then if we need to auto close it, we can send emails to various folks in order to do so. The last two things here are related to labels. So when we process a sales return order, we can send our customer a label that will have, something that the warehouse can scan to identify what items are in the box. It can have our address and things like that for the location. This is not postage, so that's probably the most important thing to call out. This is not paid postage that we're putting on the box. This is more so information so that you know where to ship it, and so that when it is received by our warehouse, we can quickly process it. So you can include that in the sales return order email, and then we have a default report here that if you need modified, let us know, but this works for most of the customers. So that's it for the general tab. Next piece before we jump into the demo is going to be this automation piece. So first you can see sales return order receipt disposals. So we have the ability when a sales order return comes in to automatically dispose of those items. So based on the return reason code or just a checkbox on the return order itself, we need somewhere to put those. So in this case, it's going to go to this default batch. You can name that batch whatever you want. And this is just where those item adjustments are going to go. The email assigned and email customer. So email assigned when those items are received that are the return items from your customer, you can email the person that was on that case or that was assigned to that case to just say, hey, this case now, the items have been received. Now you can go process that, return order or that sales order back to your replacement order for your customer. That's where this is going to come in handy, that auto release. And then email customers, just a confirmation for the customer saying, hey, we've received the items that were on your RMA. We'll take a look at it and within 3 to 5 days or whatever you want here in this customer email. So for my example, I say, hey, we've received your order. We will process that in the next 3 days and let you know if there are any issues, right? So this is just kind of an acknowledgement saying, hey, we received your stuff. We're going to look at it. And if it meets the standards that you said were defective, we will replace that or credit you or whatever that process is for you internally. Vendor returns and RMA close. So last two things here. The vendor returns, we return something to our vendor. This is an automatic follow-up that can reach out to your vendor saying, hey, where's my credit? We sent all of our stuff back, but we have not received any credits in return. So in this case, it would wait 30 days before doing so, and you can define what that email looks like. So in this case, hey, we returned it, but we never received our credit. Please issue it ASAP. All that's rich text HTML, like all of our other apps. So you can put pictures, images, whatever you want in there, signature lines. And then the RMA close, these are going to be the two emails that trigger off this top piece here. So based on the estimated close date and the auto close, we can say, hey, we haven't received your stuff yet at the 30-day mark. And then after that 44-day mark, based on the 30 plus the 14, we can just auto close it. And we can say, hey, your goods have not been returned. We're just going to automatically close this. If you need to open a new support case, please do so, right? So that's all the setup. Pretty easy to go through. I know we spent a lot of time on it, but it really only takes about 5 minutes to go through and set up, depending on how much you want those email templates beefed up. And then going off of email templates, the last thing here is we can have different email templates based on things that are happening. All those email templates work the same as we saw below. They've got wildcards for like vendor name, company name, document number, amounts, things like that. And then you can define what documents they pop up on. So things we're going to be looking at today include the sales returns, the purchase returns, the replacement sales orders, the replacement purchase orders, the support cases that are generic, and then the past due reminders for those vendors. So before we jump into the demo, any questions on this setup so far?
Ben, we're looking clear on the question box right now.
Awesome. We will jump right into it then. So let's come back out here. And let's come back up to our RMA. So the first thing we're going to look at is this case list. So I've got some different views. I can see closed cases, which I'm pretty sure everything in here is closed because usually we go through it full end to end for the demos, and I've got our open cases. So let's go back to all and just create a new one. The first thing you'll notice over here is this drag and drop activities. So bear with me real quick. I'm going to jump and grab an email. So let's grab this one. I'm just going to drag and drop it. It'll highlight to kind of indicate, hey, there's something to drop in there. And then you'll notice, next case number was driven by that number series. Everything's going to start as a support case, right? We don't know what the customer wants yet, right? They just sent us an email, and you can see that email here. I'm having issues with my keyboard. It's not working. Please help, right? And then it's got the rest of my email signature and things like that. This is just dragging and dropping that email thread that I pulled over from Outlook and putting it in this box here, right? So everything's going to start as support, but you can have sales and purchase RMAs. So this would be a use case where not only are you getting a return from your customer, but you're also going to return the items your customer's sending back to the vendor. Maybe it was a special order or they're linked somehow. So you want to return that all the way back to your vendor. We're going to use a sales RMA for today's purposes, just to keep it simple and also for the sake of time. But you could also do purchase RMA. So they're all going to work very similarly. It just depends on who's sending the goods where and what kind of credits and returns you're processing. So the two cases we'll go through are going to be the support and the sales. If anybody needs any additional information, we've got additional demos and things like that that you can look at as well. So here we go. We're just going to put in our date was today. Estimated close date is going to be later next month. It's going to be support only. It was created by me, but who's it assigned to, right? So I'm going to assign it to myself too, just to make it easy. This one, there's not going to be a % return fee. This is what we looked at with that GL account, right? So I could do 5% and it would do that $50 as an example. But again, I'm not going to actually be returning anything this one. So we'll do that in the next case. Who's the customer? If you've got a contact for the customer, you can put in here who kind of reached out. You can also have support cases where all you do is track the contact and you don't have a customer. That is also another use case that we have here. And then in terms of filling out the header information, that's really it, right? So somebody emails us in, says they have an issue with their keyboard. It's a support only right now because we have not identified the issue yet. And now we can start to track things. So I'm going to skip the RMA items for now and do that in our next example. And I want to jump down to the timeline and the attachment. So the timeline is just going to show that the RMA was created. And then since this is a customer, I'm going to come up here and click on my customer tab. And now we can log incoming calls, outgoing calls. We can send an email directly from here. That's where those email templates are going to come in play that we looked at earlier. So I can send an email just saying, hey, an acknowledgement request, a close request. I should probably add a support one in here for a demo that we could use as well. But what I'm going to do is just say, okay, I called the customer just to get some more information. I'm going to log an outgoing call, or actually let's just log a note for this case. And I'm going to say the keyboard was not plugged in. Issue has been resolved, right? So they didn't need to send us anything. The issue was resolved over the phone. We leave it as support because they don't need to send that keyboard back, right? That's best case scenario. We just solve the issues on the phone. It stays support, and we don't have to issue any returns or anything like that. Obviously, unrealistic to have 100% of these, which is why we have our other use cases as well. So I'm just going to save that. And you'll notice that in the RMA timeline, all of that's saved. So again, you can send emails directly out of here. Those will log. You can log an email if you didn't send it out of here, just like we do in our CRM or project management tool. We can log the notes, the calls, and again, all those same options are going to be valid for the vendor. If you need to attach any documents or pictures, like in the next example we'll go through of defective items, you can load them up right here as well. So with this, that was a super simple one. They call in, the keyboard's not working, told them to plug it in, it works, we're all good. I'm going to come up here to process, and I'm going to close out that RMA. You could also cancel it potentially if they just opened one and then never responded, or you could reopen it if somebody accidentally closes it. So these other options we'll use in our next case, but for this, I'm just going to close this RMA. And it updated the status to closed here, and everything else for tracking purposes is in there as it was before. Keyboard wasn't plugged in, created, note, closed, right? That's an awesome little support case because the best support cases are the nice and easy ones, right? Now let's ramp it up a little bit and make it a little bit more difficult, right? So again, filters, I don't have any open cases. If I come back to my view here, just give us some more real estate. I can see all my RMAs. I can see who they were for. This one was a vendor one I did where we processed a return to the customer and the vendor. We can see who created things, who they were assigned to. All of them are closed, estimated close date. and the actual close date, right? So let's go ahead and create a new one. I could also create a manual one here, but then I wouldn't have the beauty of that email drag and drop. I'd have to do it all manually, and I like doing things in more automated fashion. So I'm just going to drag and drop a new one in here. Remember that first one was that keyboard. This one is going to be a little bit more difficult because we've got a surface that needs to be replaced, right? It was damaged. So, okay. Again, I know that this is going to be a sales RMA, but we could update that later. So let's just say, okay, we know we're going to have to do something, right? So let's create an RMA type of sales RMA. Let's go ahead and put estimated close date. I'm going to assign it to myself again. And again, where this assigning comes into place, right, is so that the actual agents or the support folks that are working on this can see this in their log, and they can go, okay, I got to work through these sequentially. I'm going to do a 5% return fee. I do absolutely need a customer in this one because we're going to link this to a sales order that was originally created, and I can do a contact again. So header information wise, it's all going to be exactly the same. And here we go. Again, surface was damaged. I'm going to come down here. Again, we see that that RMA was created. I could attach a document here if I wanted to. If I just click this and drag and drop, let's find an image I've got real quick. I actually do have some images in here because I processed a return to somebody I bought something for yesterday. So there we go. We actually have a broken piece of wood from a desk I tried to buy, and we'll continue to go through here with the next piece being these RMA items, right? So now we've logged this. Maybe they did call in, so I can just log another note and say after customer emailed us, they called us, we need to replace the Surface 8 for them, right? This is just whatever you want. This is just the agents logging their notes. I'm going to close that, and it's just going to put another note in there. This is the most important piece, so these RMA items, right? So the first thing I want to do is add new RMA items to our case. So I'm going to do add from sales invoice. And this is filtered down just to the customer number we're working on. So that's why this is very important to look at as we go through there. I'm going to take one I made before the call. So I created a sales order before the call, 103701 for item 1017, which is our Surface 8. This is the item that they need replaced. So I'm just going to go ahead and click OK. And now you can see all that gets brought in. Our returns location code is returned. That's defaulting from our setup, as you remember. And then a reason code, right? So why are they returning it? And I created a little hierarchy here. But in this case, let's just take a look. It's a replacement order and something was broken, right? So I'm going to click OK. It's going to bring that in here. There's one to return, and they paid $1,300 for it. There's no sales return order yet because I have not created our sales return orders. We'll do that here in a second. I can auto dispose of the item if I'd like, and I can automatically replace the sales item here. So again, as you're setting this up, these are different options that you want to make. If that surface is defective, I want to auto dispose of it, and I want to replace it. We also have a field right here for the replacement item number. If I leave this blank, it's going to just give them another Surface 8, right? So exactly as it came. There are use cases though where the support complaint is we sent them the wrong item, right? Maybe they ordered a Surface 9 and we accidentally sent them a Surface 7, right? They don't want the older model, obviously, but the older model is what is going to be returned. I can update this replacement item number with a different item to send out on the new shipment that's going to go, right? So that's the use case there. And then everything else will populate as we go through our use cases here. Over here, if you're also doing the vendor side of things, this will track the vendor number that you're returning it to, the posted purchase invoice that it was bought on, some date fields here, when we sent it, things like that, and replacement of the purchase items, just like we have on the sales side. So with that, we are ready to go ahead and create our sales return order. I'm just going to click the button here, click yes. And now you'll see the sales disposition status updates, right? So before it was just in like a pending selection state because we hadn't done anything with it. Now it's waiting upon receipt, right? So we have gotten the complaints from the customer, right? They've said they want to send their stuff back, and now it's a waiting game, right? So we might wait 2 or 3 days until we actually get their stuff, and then after we do get their stuff, we can go out here to the sales return order. So again, let's make sure that that's populated. We can see now the sales return order number has populated there. Everything else should be the same as we saw before. So now it's time to go to that sales return order. Pop this open. All right, so now we're on the sales return order. You can see we've got that Microsoft Service 8. It's broken. It's going to that returns warehouse. And we have that return processing fee of 5%, right? So that 5% was that wild card. It's going to account 43000. This is our restocking fee that's automatically assigned there. Everything else on the sales return order should be good to go. So now you can come out here and post this. And again, this is assuming that we've got it in the warehouse and all that kind of stuff. We're going to go ahead and receive this. Item 1017 has been sent to auto dispose. That's what we've set up in the in that case as well. This will remove the items from inventory. Do you want to continue? Click yes. Didn't like my document number. That's okay. Keep going there. And the other important piece is this email, right? So I talked about some emails. This is the email the customer would have gotten. Received your order. We'll process them in the next 3 days. If there's no issues, we'll ship your replacement and issue the credit memo. So again, all we've done right now is receive these items. We haven't issued them a credit or anything like that. And then that was one of 2 emails. The other email here is the email that would go to the agent. So this would go to the agent and saying the following RMA has been received. They can click on this link and it will open Business Central right back up for them into that case that they were working on, right? So this should just open us back into the case we had before. And it does, right? So now the status is in progress. We're working on it. You can see that on your dashboard. They still need that replacement for the surface because it was damaged. And if I come down here, we see that it now has been received but not credited, right? So you can track this now every step of the way as you're coming through. I'm going to go back into our original one just to keep it easy and only have one screen open. So again, if I go F5 there, it's been received but not credited yet, right? Everything else here should be good to go. So I can come back into my sales return order. I can go ahead and post this. I've already received it, so receive and invoicing should really just be doing the invoicing side. Return order posted, credit memo has been made, posted credit memo, great. I don't really care. I'm not going to look at that. We're just going to keep going. And the sales disposition status is now updated to credited. If you're using our invoice and statement delivery tool, all these documents are also automatically being sent out behind the scenes right now. Let's see if I can grab some of those as well. We'll look at one when we do the shipment actually. So just to not waste too much time, I only got 6 minutes left. So sales disposition status, it's now been credited, okay? So what's the final step, right? They've sent it back, we checked it, it looks good, the money's been credited back, and now they need a new item, right? Because we have their stuff and they don't have our stuff yet. So I'm gonna go to, oops, wrong button. I'm gonna go to create the replacement order, and then I can go to the replacement order. So you sure you wanna create that replacement order? I'm gonna say yes. Replacement sales order number has now been created. I can come up to the go to replacement sales order. And what this is going to do is it's pretty much just going to create a brand new sales order for us, right? So it's that same customer. We've got their address information. The comment here is just going to say, hey, this is a replacement sales order from RMA 10016, and we're replacing that Surface 8. Now, again, they have shipped us everything back. We have credited them that full amount. So this would generate another shipment, of course, and then also another invoice because now we're net nothing, right? We've given them all their money back. So now this is just a new invoice going out to them. So let's go ahead and post this. Again, there might be other steps in your warehouse, but we'll just assume that we're going to ship and invoice it all at once here. Of course, you could ship partially and invoice as well if needed. Not going to look at the posted invoice here. And let's check our email real quick. So I got 2 things. These actually are coming from other tools we have. This is from advanced notifications to the agent saying, hey, this has been shipped. So again, I can open that link up into Business Central. That's from advanced notifications. And then this is our invoice and statement delivery actually sending them that invoice. So again, just kind of also showing not only RMA, but how all of our tools work together very nicely to automate all of these things. So as I did all of that, all these emails are going on behind the scenes, communicating with your customer, communicating internally, and ultimately just kind of streamlining all of that information. So now with that, really everything's been good to go, right? We have credited that fully, we've received it fully, we've created the return order, we've created the replacement order, and everything else here should be good to go. We've attached the documents, and the RMA timeline has been updated. Again, you could add another note in here saying, you know, everything is good to go. This is not a requirement, but you can do it if you'd like. And then after all of that, you can go ahead and close the RMA, right? So again, you can see your timeline here. RMA was created. We've communicated with the client. We've closed the RMA. All of the sales return orders have been created. All the replacement orders have been created. And again, we don't have time for the purchasing side today, but the purchasing side is going to work exactly the same. And you can see all the buttons even are almost identical, right? Add the purchase invoice, do the purchase return, do the purchase replacement order, all of that good stuff. So with that, Grant, any questions right now? I know we got about 3 minutes left, so I want to make sure that I answer those.
Yeah, let's looks like we got one in, Ben.
Okay.
Are there reason codes for returns?
There are. So that's going to be these return reason codes right here. So it's going to work very similarly to out-of-box Business Central. And you're just going to use those same reason codes. If you already have reason codes, it'll pull these in automatically. And of course, if you want to add in additional reason codes, you can do so as well.
That's perfect. We also got a yay automated. So definitely love that as well too.
Awesome. That is great to hear. And then, yeah, let me jump into one more thing here. We can show briefly just the dashboard, and then I'll jump back into the PowerPoint for us, Grant. So again, we went over the case list, we went over the setup, and then the only other thing here is this dashboard. So this is just going to be similar to all the other dashboards we have. Instead of like a financial dashboard that's going to be for everything financially, this is going to be solely dedicated to your RMA activities. So of course, you'd have to have our tool because all the data is pulling from our tool, but you can quickly see closed cases by the various type, closed cases by agent, total closed reason, so broken versus defective. We've got different statistics here for both our vendors and our customers. So like who are top returns coming from, top vendors by amount, top vendors by cases, all of the return statistics. So this can be very useful to analyze your vendors as well as your customers, who are the repeat offenders, things like that, or on a salesperson purchaser side, right? Who are the top salespeople that are getting returns from? In this case, it's me. Top purchaser returns by amount, and then some salesperson and purchaser statistics down there. So with that, I know we're right at time. So Grant, I'm gonna give you the last 2 minutes back to finish out our Halloween Toolbox Tuesday, talk a little bit about pricing and talk about what's next. No costumes for the next one, but hope everyone had a little bit of fun today with our themed Toolbox Tuesday.
100%, Ben. So we have one more question come in. I'll answer that one real quick. RMA Dashboard is part of which app? So RMA Dashboard is a part of our advanced RMA and case management extension. So for everyone that hopped on, here's just a quick look at pricing. I also put a few helpful links in the chat. It's good to know that you can download a 30-day free trial of any of our extensions in Business Central. Advanced RMA case management is $900 a year, price per tenant, which means unlimited users and companies. That pricing will go up in 2024, so definitely want to take advantage of that. If you have any more extensions you might be interested in, that last link that we posted in the chat will give you full access to our comprehensive product guide, all 28 of our extensions, which are $3,600 a year total for all 28 of them. Ben, if you could hop over to the last slide for us. Our next Toolbox Tuesday is going to be on dispatch management. So if you're interested in hopping on that, we put the next Toolbox Tuesday registration link in the chat as well. That'll be on November 14th. Like Ben said, sadly, we won't have a costumes for that one, but we'll still have some great content. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to us at info@erpconnectconsulting.com, connect with myself or Ben, or you could reach out to us at our phone number or on our website. So with that, let's close out this installment of Toolbox Tuesdays. We really appreciate everyone hopping on for our spooky Halloween theme. Ben, I'll let you close this one out.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Please feel free to reach out with any questions, and we will see you on our next Toolbox Tuesday. Thank you.